Remember when Charlton Athletic were in the Premier League? If you're of a younger age then probably not, but once upon a time the Addicts were in the Premier League and they weren't a bad little team, with the likes of Jason Ewell, Scott Parker and Darren Bent, with Alan Kirbishley in charge. He's the bloke you always see on Sky Sports being linked with every job going since 2010. Nowadays they're in League One after some horrific ownership and currently competing near the top of the division as they look to get back into the Championship. With Joe Gomez, a former Charlton player, doing so well for England and Liverpool, we wondered how good a team we could put together if we used current players who used to ply their trade for Charlton. So this is Charlton Athletic's 11 if they kept their best players. In goal it's Nick Pope. We were spoiled for choice in between the sticks, with multiple average goalkeepers having played at the Valley such as Rob Elliott and Darren Randolph. But we've decided to go with the current Burnley keeper Nick Pope, who was shot in the Premier League since coming in for the injured Tom Heaton. The keeper joined Charlton in 2011 and spent 5 years with them, during which he had 8 loan spells away from the club. Pope joined Burnley last summer and has done brilliantly this season after being thrust into the action following Tom Heaton's dislocated shoulder. In defence we've got Carl Jenkinson. Yes, the Arsenal man began his career at Charlton and would make 8 league appearances for the club before Arsene Wenger spotted him and plucked him away from the Valley and into the Arsenal squad, costing around £1 million in 2011. Still only 25, Jenkinson hasn't been as good as Wenger would have hoped, and it's a surprise to many that he's still actually an Arsenal player, currently on loan at Birmingham. Next up we've got Joe Gomez. Currently the brightest talent to come out of the Charlton Academy in recent years, Joe Gomez has been making waves in recent weeks after his England debut, followed by a man-of-the-match performance against Brazil. Gomez signed for Liverpool in 2015 after just 1 year in the Charlton first team and is now spending his days at right back for the Reds, despite being at his best at centre back, while his teammates at the heart of the defence struggle with even the thought of stopping the opposition scoring. Our third defender is Simon Francis. The first of 4 Bournemouth players who've ended up in this team, Bournemouth captain Simon Francis was playing for Charlton before he ended up with the Cherries, joining in 2010 from Southend and playing 1 season for Charlton in League One before joining Bournemouth on loan and then permanently in 2012. Once Francis joined Bournemouth permanently, he climbed up the Football League, helping them into the Championship and then the Premier League, where he's still holding his own at the age of 32, despite a recent red card against Huddersfield. On the right of midfield we've got Jordan Ibe. Yes, we're going for an imbalanced 3-5-2 formation with a right back playing as one of the centre backs, but just trust me on this one. Ibe began his career at Charlton, playing for the club's academy until the age of 12, but would then leave for Wycombe Wanderers where he caught the attention of Liverpool at the age of 16, having made his league debut for Wycombe a year earlier when he was just 15. Let's all take a moment to think about what we were doing at the age of 15. It definitely wasn't as impressive. Well, now at the age of 21, Ibe is with Bournemouth, maybe not matching what was expected of him, proving Liverpool were right to let him go for £15 million last summer. In the middle we've got Harry Arter. It's a hat-trick of Bournemouth players and Harry Arter is the best of the lot. The midfielder began his career with Charlton but only made 1 appearance for the club in the League Cup, having loan spells with Stainstown and Welling United. He was released from Charlton in 2009 and headed down to non-league football with Woking, making his Premier League performances even more impressive, rising from the bottom to the top and not looking out of place in a Premier League midfield up against some of the best players around. He's alongside Francis Coquelin. The Arsenal midfielder had a loan spell at the Valley in 2014 where he made a massive 5 appearances for the club, but was quickly drafted back to the Emirates after an injury crisis at Arsenal meant that Coquelin was needed to beef up the bench, and then eventually became a starter for Arsene Wenger, showing how much Arsenal actually needed a holding midfielder. The 26-year-old is mainly a backup now at Arsenal, with Granit Xhaka and Aaron Ramsey the preferred midfield partnership. Next up it's Jonjo Shelvey. Another ex-Charlton man playing in the Premier League, Jonjo Shelvey joined the Addicts in 2004, making his first team debut 4 years later, going on to make 42 league appearances for the club, scoring 7 times. He was then rewarded with a move to Liverpool, where he had the passing range of Steven Gerrard, but nowhere near the level of consistency, and he was sold to Swansea as Shelvey went in search of more minutes. After a fallout in Wales, Shelvey headed to Newcastle where he's been since January 2016 and helped guide the Magpies back into the Premier League last season with a fantastic personal season in the Championship. On the left it's Johan Berg Gudmundsson. Our second current Burnley player, Gudmundsson is one of the Iceland heroes who performed so well at the Euros last year and will get another chance on the grand stage at the World Cup. The winger joined Burnley in 2016 from Charlton, making the step up from the Championship to the Premier League, while Charlton prepared for a season in League One. Gudmundsson isn't always a starter for Sean Dyche, but has done well when called upon, and has played his part in the Claret's incredible start of the season. Up front it's Ademola Lookman. While the youngster has predominantly been used out wide since joining Everton, Ademola Lookman is up front for our fantasy Charlton 11, having joined the club in 2014 and quickly rising through the ranks to make his debut in November 2015. He would make 45 league appearances in both the Championship and League One for Charlton, scoring 5 goals in each season, and signed for the Toffees in January for a fee that could rise to £11 million. His debut was pretty much perfect, coming off the bench to score against Manchester City, but since then it hasn't been so easy. However, Lookman is at the right club if he wants to develop, with Everton boasting a fantastic record of helping young players. And finally it's Jermaine Defoe. The ageing forward spent 2 years with Charlton back when he was just a bairn, joining when he was 14, before switching teams and going to join West Ham at 16. A massive loss for Charlton, who missed out on a sensational striker, with Defoe having scored goals wherever he has been throughout his career, rarely as the club's main forward, with only the twilight years of his career seeing Defoe get the real credit he deserves. The 35-year-old is now with Bournemouth for his second spell with the club, but the goals are yet to really flow like they had been in the previous few years for Sunderland. So that's Charlton's best 11 if they'd kept their best players. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on where you think Charlton would be if they had this team right now. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.